Hello and welcome to Tabletop Tier Ranking. I'm Joe with Always Blue 7 Gaming. In this episode, we're going to rank all the heroes from Marvel Champions the card game. Marvel Champions the card game is a living card game from Fantasy Flight Games. We are going to rank all the heroes starting with the base game and working our way up all the way to Scarlet Witch. That's every hero and release before Galaxy's Most Wanted, the new box set coming here in the next month. We're going to start off today with Black Panther. Black Panther gets an A tier ranking for me. Black Panther has excellent stats. He has a 2-2-2 stat line with thwart, attack, and defense, and this makes him extremely versatile in a number of different aspects. His retaliate ability gives him the added advantage of dealing damage back to any minion or villain when he gets attacked. And he has great additional hero cards that really make him an A-tier hero. He has things like the Golden City that in his alter ego form allows him to draw 2 cards. This is huge for boosting his economy and being able to get out some of those upgrades with his Black Panther cards, and then ultimately work into using his Vibranium to get those Wakanda Forevers out, and ultimately be a super powerful hero, take down any of the different villains that are out there today. Next up is my personal favorite, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is also an A-tier ranking hero. The first thing that I really love about Spider-Man is his spider sense ability, where you can interrupt a villain's initiated attack against you and draw 1 card. Sometimes the card you draw can be used immediately to take down the villain's attack against you. Other times you already have a card like a backflip in your hand that you can play for 0 cost that allows you to mitigate all of the damage the villain was going to do against you, and then you still get to draw that 1 card to replace it. It allows you to remain in hero form for a long period of time to be able to really set yourself up to deal damage. Spider-Man has one of the best, if not the best, ally in Black Cat. Black Cat is unique in the fact that she does not take damage when she makes an attack, allowing her to be out on the board for an extended period of time, and also potentially draw 2 cards when you play her. Typically, my Spider-Man decks tend to have a lot of mental resources, and those are the cards that you can keep when you play Black Cat. Spider-Man also has what is, in my opinion, the best support, if not the best card in the game, in Aunt May. She allows you to heal for 4, so you can use Aunt May at the end of one of your turns to heal for 4, and then you can use her again at the beginning of your next turn to heal for 4 again. So you're effectively healing for 8 in a single turn, which is unheard of for any hero. So all that damage you might accumulate during staying in hero form for a long period of time, you can very easily heal all that back up in 1 turn and get back over into hero form to take down the villain. Spider-Man overall just has a ton of great unique hero cards. Cards like web shooters, I already mentioned backflip. Web shooters give you those awesome additional resources to leverage, and you're just building yourself until you get the swinging web kick card that allows you to deal 8 damage to an enemy and allows you to really get those massive damage turns to take down the villain. Captain Marvel is next. And for Captain Marvel, she is the first S-tier ranking for me. I know this might be a controversial opinion. I know a lot of people either hate or love Captain Marvel. I'm one of those people that love Captain Marvel. I think her commander ability in Alter Ego, where you can choose a player to draw a card and ultimately choose yourself sometimes to draw a card, is very powerful. Additionally, she can emit enormous amounts of damage with cards like Photonic Blast and Energy Channel. She also has the Energy Absorption card that has those 3 lightning resources. She can really take advantage of the lightning resources, and you usually include those lightning resources in your deck build. Captain Marvel is just an amazing hero. She has a lot of great upgrade cards like her helmet. She can really fit into any aspect, and she's really a must-play hero if you're really trying to take down some of the ultra tough villains like Ultron or Green Goblin in the mutagen formula scenario. So Captain Marvel is my first S-tier hero. She-Hulk is up next, and for me, She-Hulk is a C-tier. I really have almost no desire to play She-Hulk. She really doesn't interest me very much at all. She has some pretty cool abilities in the Do You Lift ability in her hero form, where after you flip to hero form, you can do 2 damage to an enemy. That's pretty nice if you're flipping back and forth a ton, but it's still really hard to make that super valuable. Gamma Slam is one of her really cool cards where if you've taken a ton of damage on your hero, you can emit a ton of damage. But that's if you can play that card even. I really just find that she struggles with villains who have a high amount of thwarting and put out a lot of threat. I just am not a huge fan. I really struggle to do well with her, and personally just am not interested in her play style, so she's a C tier for me. The last of our base box heroes is Iron Man. Iron Man is a very interesting hero. He has a very limited hand size that increases as you play more and more tech cards, and I think that hand size is the main factor why I rate him a B ranking. I feel like he's very a luck of the draw kind of hero. If you don't get those tech cards out or you're unable to play them for one reason or another, he becomes really bad, in my opinion. There are a ton of ways to try and guarantee you're going to get those tech cards out, but it still is based on your draw. And for me, that's what's preventing him from being an A-tier hero. I really enjoy it. It's super thematic to get all of the pieces of Iron Man's suit and get him out there. And once you get him all out there, he's super powerful. But until you do that, you still have to try and survive, and it's very hard, in my opinion. So for that, he's a B-tier hero. Moving on to our first hero outside of the base set, and that is Captain America. Captain America is a very cool hero. And as you might imagine, Captain America in the movies, in the comics, he's very popular, very powerful, very cool hero. And that translates to this game and makes him an S-tier hero for me. Captain America has the ability to just do it all. He has a great stat line with the 2-2-2 stat line where he can defend, attack, work very well. He has the I can do this all day ability in his hero form that lets him discard one card to ready himself after he exhausts so he can do multiple actions in one turn, which is very fun. Captain America also has his shield, which obviously you have to have Captain America's shield. It's signature to the hero, which allows him to get +1 defense and retaliate. So it makes him, equal to Black Panther in that situation when you do have the shield. And he has other great cards that just allow him, again, to do great damage, to do great thwarting of the scheme, and to do great blocking, whatever scenario you find yourself in, whether it's shield toss that does damage, shield block that prevents damage, or even cards such as Super Soldier Serum, which gives you those extra fist resources when you have them out there, and things like Heroic Strike as well. I love Heroic Strike. It's a lot of damage, and if you pay for it with the Super Soldier Serum, you get that stun as well. It's just super powerful. Captain America, S tier for sure. Miss Marvel is next. Miss Marvel is an extremely underrated hero, and that makes her a sneaky A-tier ranked hero. This is another one that might be a controversial opinion from people who watch this video, especially considering she has a very low stat line. But Miss Marvel is awesome. She can do so much in her alter ego form that helps her be such an effective hero when you flip over to her hero form. Miss Marvel, she has first Team Spirit, which allows her to discard cards from her deck until you discard a Miss Marvel card and then add that to your hand. So you can really take advantage of trying to get those Persona cards, which are cards that are unique to Miss Marvel that really make her powerful. They give her amazing abilities in her alter ego form that, again, helps her really shine once you flip over to those hero forms. Additionally, I really like her Biokinetic Polymer Suit card that gives her that wild resource to generate. Any wild resources you can get for free when you get that upgrade out there, it immensely helps your economy and getting out more cards. To me, she particularly shines in protection, but honestly can play any aspect. And for those reasons, she gets that A ranking for me. Next is Thor. Thor is also a hero that a lot of people have mixed opinions about. Thor is one of my favorite characters. I really like character in general. I was very excited when his pack got released, but I'm going to give him a B ranking for a few different reasons. First of all, I really like his have at the ability when he is in hero form, where he can draw 2 cards when he gets to engage with a minion. Now, in solo, that's pretty easy and awesome, but even in multiplayer, you have cards like Get Over Here that can pull minions to be engaged with you from your allies. where you can really take advantage of drawing those extra cards. In addition to that, you obviously have Mjolnir. How can you not have a card like Mjolnir? Love the Mjolnir card and love the ability to play Mjolnir and then pull it back into your hand. Super thematic for a character like Thor. I giggled and squealed a little bit when I got to play that for the first time. It was so cool considering my love of the character Thor. He also has some really great and relatively cheap for what value you get back for them unique hero cards. Defender of the Nine Realms, cards like Hammer Throw do a ton of damage. And even God of Thunder is a really cool card to get those lightning resources out, because you do need those lightning resources for Thor. Again, another really cool thematic thing they did with his deck. But when we mention those lightning resources, he is quite dependent on the lightning resource, especially for cards like Lightning Strike, where you can do a lot of damage if you do happen to have those lightning resources, but sometimes it can be hard to do that. So it's sometimes hit or miss with Thor. Generally is very powerful, but he struggles with high scheme villains. So for that, he's a B rank for me. Next pack that was released after Thor was Black Widow. Black Widow for me is A tier. Black Widow has a really great stat line. She has the 2/2/2 stat line, which I've mentioned before. It's really powerful. And again, as I've said with other heroes, makes them extremely versatile, viable in a lot of different aspects against all kinds of different villains. From there, she also has those unique abilities to take advantage of the preparation cards with her ability Widowmaker in hero form. After you trigger those preparation cards, you get to deal 1 damage, basically giving her a retaliate kind of ability. So it puts her up there with Black Panther and Captain America. You also have the ability when you're an alter ego to draw cards when you play preparation cards. And some of her cards give you the ability to go grab those preparation cards. So you're always aiming for that, always looking to build her up with those preparation cards. And those preparation cards really do a ton of work for her when you get them out there. Especially Black Widow's Gauntlet helps with that too, generating that wild resource for preparation cards. And then, getting Safe House out there as one of her support cards is extremely valuable, from my opinion. You get to choose that preparation card from the discard pile, bring it back to your hand, and then take advantage of it. Black Widow overall is a very fun, unique hero, especially considering she is one of the few spies, a really fun character. The only thing that I dislike about her is, and a lot of people have commented on this, but they did a bad thing to Winter Soldier and his art on the card. It was one of the most poorly chosen art on a card from any of the heroes in the game so far. So hopefully they can make an improvement to that down the road and do the Winter Soldier some justice there. But again, that's an A tier ranking for Black Widow. Next up, everyone's favorite Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. And I'm sure you can predict this one. This is an easy one, an easy S tier ranking. In many people's eyes, including mine, Doctor Strange is the best hero in the game. His invocation deck is so powerful. You get to use his spell mastery ability to play the top card of that invocation deck. All of the cards in the invocation deck are extremely powerful, whether it's damage, card draw, removing threat, using status cards. He can do it all. And he can do it for cheap is the other thing. He was the only hero to be a mystic and could take advantage of a lot of cards that were unique to heroes that had the mystic trait. A lot of people complained about that for quite some time until the release of Scarlet Witch, which we will get to shortly. But Doctor Strange, he's so good that he can do it all. He can do it by himself. He can do it with other people. He's almost cheating. He's so powerful, and he just gets better and better each time you play him. He's so much fun and so thematic with his Sanctum Sanctorum. He gets his Cloak of Levitation, Magic Blast, Master of the Mystic Arch. There's so many good cards in this deck. You could probably win multiple games by just playing his hero cards, not even playing any of your aspect cards, just using those as resources. He's that good. Doctor Strange is an easy S tier. Now, we just finished talking about what is probably the best hero in the game, and we do a complete 180 now that we're talking about Hulk, which is, in my opinion and many others, the worst hero in the game, automatic D tier. Hulk is so disappointing to have as the worst hero in the game right now. He has so many things that make him so hard to play well and to win with. His cards can do so much damage and so much work against a villain, but they are so hard to make work with the limitations that are on Hulk. It's really hard to do a lot of work in his hero form, where a lot of his cards must be played because his hand size limit is so limiting, and having to discard your entire hand at the end of your turn also makes it extremely difficult. When you can make his cards work, it's really fun. You do so much damage. It's thematic to Hulk, but getting to that point to where Hulk is effective is too difficult for what I think it should be. There is some thematic elements to it. I get it. You know, some people make that argument, but it doesn't make him fun to play like he should be. You know, the character of Hulk is you jump around, you smash things, you're pretty invincible, but you just don't really get that feeling the majority of the time that you're playing Hulk. I know a lot of people have tried to build decks that make him viable, but I just haven't seen it yet in my play. So he's an automatic D tier for me. Hopefully down the road, the developers can take advantage of the Gamma trait and really make him more viable so Hulk can take advantage of those and be played in more games. Now we get into the Rise of Red Skull heroes. First of those is Hawkeye. Hawkeye gets a B tier ranking from me for a few different reasons. He's almost an A tier in my book because he can be so effective with all the different abilities that his arrows can do for him. His arrows have really cool abilities. His dex curve is very low, 1 or 2 cost arrows to do a lot of value. But I find that it's very hard to get multiple arrows of his out at one time. I often found myself spending arrows as resources to play other cards. I felt that getting Hawkeye's quiver was vital to making him a really good hero, but sometimes you don't draw his quiver, so then it makes him not as good of a hero. I also feel like his health is kind of low at only 9, and that he struggles to stay alive. I've never lost a game as Hawkeye by getting schemed out and the villain winning by accomplishing their schemes. It's only been that I've gotten killed by the villain, because Hawkeye just, in my opinion, he cannot prevent some of those big villain damage turns and stay healthy in an effective way. And that's really what's preventing him from being an A tier hero. In multiplayer, he's way better. In solo, he struggles, so B tier. Spider-Woman is the other hero in the Rise of Red Skull campaign box, and she is very close to an S tier hero for me. However, she's going to get an A ranking. Spider-Woman does so much and is the first hero to take advantage of the dual aspect ability. Her superhuman agility allows her to take advantage of various different aspect cards that are played each turn when she is in hero form. So there's some turns where you can play one card of each aspect, and she gets up to a stat line of 444, which makes her super powerful. There's so much combining of different aspects to make her super viable and ultra good against multiple villains in the game. She was the first person that I picked to play through the Rise of Red Skull campaign, and she did a great job. She also has one of the best allies. She's up there with Black Cat in Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel has a 2/2 stat line, so she does a lot of damage or can remove a lot of threat, but she also draws a card for you every time she activates, which is OP for a signature hero. And you can't talk about Spider-Woman without talking about her Pheromones card that stuns and confuses an enemy. You know, if you use this on the villain, that gives you basically 2 free turns to do whatever you want against the villain. It is so ridiculously good for 2 cost of a card. And Spider-Woman, like I said, she's very close to being an S tier. It's just that I need to play her more and try out with some of the new cards that have come in some of the most recent packs. But she is so good and so much fun to play. A tier. Ant-Man is next. Ant-Man is the first hero that introduced the folding cards, which so far have been pretty good for me. I haven't had any problems with mine. I think the quality is pretty good. But this allows you to be in 3 different forms. You get your alter ego, and then you get 2 different hero forms, giant and tiny, which is super fun for a character like Ant-Man. He gives you very fun abilities in all his 3 different forms, which is super thematic. They also introduced the team-up mechanism with Ant-Man here, so that if you have Ant-Man and Wasp out at the same time, you can take advantage of their relationship to do some cool things. It works well in solo, but it doesn't quite work the same way in the multiplayer games, so it lost a little bit for me in that aspect. But for me, Ant-Man gets a B tier ranking, and the reason is because I feel like you can sometimes get caught in the wrong form at the wrong time. And I know some people might say, oh, you just need to think about it more, or don't let yourself get into that position. But, you know, when you get encounter cards from the villain that are drawn and they just really put you in a bad position for whether you're in giant or tiny, you know, you can really fall off the cliff with Ant-Man under those circumstances. And that's really preventing him from being an A-tier hero. But he is so much fun. He has great cards, Giant Stomp. You can use Resize. His army of ants is really fun and thematic. You know, he doesn't quite get over the B hump for me, and that's why he is in that B tier ranking. Similarly, we have Wasp. Wasp does a similar mechanic to Ant-Man with the folding card and the tiny and giant forms. She is a very interesting hero. I think she has a lot of potential, but I think that she is just not quite as powerful as Ant-Man. She does have some interesting mechanics with being able to split up her damage to different people or take threat away from different schemes and split those up. But for me, she's just not quite as good as Ant-Man, being able to really take advantage of the swapping from tiny to giant or back and forth, vice versa. So for that, I'm going to put her as a C tier ranking, because honestly, her and Ant-Man are so similar that if I'm going to play one of those heroes, I'm going to want to play Ant-Man. So I just have less desire to play her, and that's why she's going to be in that C tier. Now we're on to the next pair of heroes here, first being Quicksilver. Quicksilver is an easy A ranking for me. Quicksilver is so cool, using his super speed ability to be able to stand up after he's exhausted. It makes him so good. When you get him built up with attack bonuses and defense bonuses and thwarting bonuses, he can really do a ton of damage. You play some always be runnings. He can attack 3 or 4 times in a turn, doing multiple high amounts of damage, getting into the double digits of damage. And it just makes him so good and so powerful. My only complaint, and the only thing that's preventing him from being an S tier, is the fact that it takes you a while to get him built, and surviving until you can get him built can sometimes be difficult depending upon the villain. If you could build him just a little bit faster than I think his deck allows, it would be an easy S tier. But unfortunately, because of that limitation, he gets an A. You know, A is still really good, but it's just kind of disappointing when he could be so much better if it just was a little bit easier to get him built out. But I think that's probably what the developers had in mind when designing him. And he's still a very fun hero to play with all the exhausting and readying and exhausting and readying over and over again. A tier. And last but certainly not least, Scarlet Witch. What can I say about her? She's an S tier for me. She is the second mystic hero in the game. So she's able to take advantage of some of those mystic cards that Doctor Strange can use, which really helps her. But Scarlet Witch is just ridiculous with some of her cards that she can play. Chaos Magic comes to mind as the first one that is extremely overpowered. When you get to play Nick Fury for no cost, it's incredibly valuable. Whether it's the card draw or whatever you use for Nick Fury, you don't have to pay anything. You just get to discard cards from the encounter deck. That is insane for that zero cost of Chaos Magic. She also has great cards like Hexbolt and Molecular Decay that allows you to do a ton of fun damage or card draw or threat removal with pulling cards from the encounter deck and looking at their boost icons. It's really fun. Her crest is incredibly fun to play with and valuable, either increasing or decreasing the boost icons on an encounter card by 1. That can really help you on the defense, or even make your other cards like Molecular Decay or Hexbolt, like we mentioned, even more powerful. It's so much fun. She has protection with her magic shield. I can go on and on. She is super powerful. I still need to play her more, but I can already see the potential in her contesting Doctor Strange as being the best hero, if not one of the best heroes in the entire game. And for that, she is an S tier. And there you have it. We've done it. We ranked all the heroes in Marvel Champions the card game, starting with the base pack and moving our way all the way up to Scarlet Witch, the hero pack. Again, I'm Joe with Always Blue 7 Gaming. Make sure to check me out on Twitter or Instagram, and also I'd really appreciate you leaving a comment below. I'd love to hear about your feedback. I'd love to hear you tell me why I'm wrong and what I missed. Also, if you like this content, please give me a subscribe. Hit the like button if you like, and I appreciate you tuning in. I hope to hear from you on the next episode of Tabletop Tier Ranking. Take care.